Take two. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 360. It's Saturday, September 4th. First show of September. First show in 5 days. It has been a long week. YouTube, my internet, my computer has made it even longer week. I think I started at 7:51. I think I came down and started this process at 7:15. My computer was sluggish, so I had to exit out of everything. Finally got it up and running. Then my internet crashes as my first video goes live. It's just been that's the way my week has been. Zach is with me. Good morning, Zach. Hopefully Dan makes it over. I saw as my internet crashed during my first take. I saw Dan commented, so hopefully Dan jumps over to this broadcast. So it's been a really long week. Mentally taxing. I started in the other video with work. I work in transportation. It's a holiday week, which is just, it can be a real bear. This week was one of the most stressful weeks that I've encountered especially for Labor Day. And I mentioned this, that 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, the summer holiday weeks, those are the toughest in transportation. And you really think about well, what about Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's, those areas? And for some reason, it's not as busy. And I think there's less shipping, because if you think about it in the grand scheme, it's kind of like the busyness of those seasons, especially Christmas, New Year's, is leading into those holidays. So, but at any rate, thank God the week's over. And it was only a 4-day week for me, and I'll get more into that in just a moment. It was a 4-day week for me. I need this 3-day weekend. It's been tough. Ups, there's been downs. So I mentioned, I think Tuesday was my last broadcast. I talked about adopting a puppy. It just turned into, and Zach, a lot of manufacturers are closed Christmas, so shipping slow. Absolutely, I had a lot of my clientele are actually closed for a 2-week period at the end of the year, just for Christmas and New Year's, and then they open back up after the New Year. So I talked about it Tuesday. We adopted a puppy, which ended up turning into basically dog sitting for a couple nights. It did not work out. It was very tough decision, both to choose to adopt Pierre, and then also to give him back. So what happened was my wife's friend works with a local adoption rescue place here, posted one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen. We were 4th in line. The first 3 people didn't pass through the adoption interview process. There's background checks. They check references. There's an interview. So at some point, each of the first 3 people on the list did not make it through. So we did our interview last week, Thursday or Friday. We passed through the background checks and the references and all that. So we had the opportunity to adopt Pierre. So we went on Monday night to the foster family, visited with them, visited with Pierre, and my wife and I discussed it Monday night. We want to go through and we want to adopt a second dog. We have Biscuit, who's now 8 years old. We thought, sometimes she's home alone for a few hours. Maybe she wants some companionship during the day. So that was kind of the thought process, and just, having a second dog around. We thought it would be a fit. So we went through with it. Tuesday night, we went and we picked him up. The first 30 minutes, I think it was Tuesday. So we had him Thursday and Wednesday. So it was Wednesday. So I think it was Wednesday when we picked him up. Picked him up, brought him home. And I know that with adoption and in rescue dogs, there's like an adjustment period. So he runs in, he pees on our couch. So we take him outside and we bring him back in, and he poops on our living room rug. And he's barking and he's chasing our dog, and our dog is like just the most like just gentle, like leave me alone. I want to do my thing. I love walks and I love to play, but only briefly during the day. So, very high energy puppy, which we thought he was going to be a little more mature um, than what he was. We also didn't, he had really big paws. I think he's going to be closer to 40, 50 pounds. And we, in the interview process, we said we want more of a lazy dog. We want, no more than 25 pounds, a smaller dog. And I just don't think he matched up with those criteria. So we decide, let's give it a couple days and see if he adjusts and we adjust. And so he was great when he was sleeping, but when he was awake, he was just constant. It was constant. It was very difficult. I took Thursday off of work. So yeah, it was Wednesday night because I took Thursday off from work just to handle the two. And it was like never, like I wasn't able to get anything done. Like I was able to list stuff on eBay and check my emails from work. But I couldn't come downstairs to ship. I didn't even go to the post office because it was just like, okay, I know this is temporary. And when we talked about, there's going to be some negatives, they're going to be temporary, but can we get through this stage? And then Thursday night, and it was just, so Thursday night, we were like really talked like, we don't think this is going to work. We feel so bad because we are. I mean, the worst feeling is this poor dog, he was rescued from Houston, Texas, brought to Wisconsin. He's with a foster family. Now he's with a new family. And it's like, if we give him back, he goes back to and it's just like, I feel so bad for the dog just being bounced around. I want him to settle in, but at the same time, we don't want him to be, like we aren't high energy people. So it's not a fit for the dog to be with us, and it's not a fit for us to be with the dog. And, we just can't, and I didn't want to drag it out for a long period of time where if it's like a week or 2 weeks, and then he's acclimated and, we're attached. And so it's like, we need to make a quick decision. We don't want to make a rash decision, but we do need to make a fairly quick decision so it benefits all involved. So ideally what we wanted was the foster family, amazing people, awesome people. They had 3 kids. They actually just sent off their oldest to college. And then I think they have a son in high school and a daughter junior high school age. They look like very active people. They have a big camping trailer that they're active. We're not we're not those people. We like to work during the day, and when we're not working at night, just chill, watch Netflix. We're not campers. I have a bike, but it's an e-bike. So, so it's that, so ideally, and we could tell that, and they even told us when we first visited, they told us that, if it was probably another week, we would adopt him. And I could tell that they were sad when we left with him. I could tell that, they were pretty upset. So it's like, I would feel so much better if they adopt him. Like I feel, and my wife and I both felt so much guilt that here we are, we accept the adoption, and then we couldn't go through with it. So we talked with the agency. They were completely understanding. Let's talk to the foster family. So we took him back. It was tough. Like I came home. My wife's grandma is in the hospital. She's not doing well. It's just been one of those weeks. And it's like, she's like, I'm the foster family, is not working today, had the day off. They'll take him back today. So I'm like, okay, I want to come home, just, say goodbye, see him off. And so left work a little early for lunch and saw him and took him in. And so my wife, talked to the foster family wife, and sounds like they're going to be his forever home, which is works out for all. They found a fit. They thought he was a fit for them. So they're going to go through with it. We didn't see a fit. Biscuit, our dog, definitely didn't see a fit. Was very happy when it was just the three of us last night. So live and learn. We learned that we are not a two dog family. Well, maybe we are a little more. That our dog is definitely not a two dog family. She wants to be the queen of the house, the only dog in the house. We'll dog sit our friend's dog, but other than that, we're just gonna stick to a one dog family. So, as trying as that was, there was a happy ending, and I think we're gonna be happy being the one dog family. Pierre is gonna be happy with his new home because they're active people. It's a good fit for him, and it's a good fit for them. So it all worked out in the end. But it was just trying to get to, a trying week getting to that point. And this is on top of my work week. My wife's grandma is in the hospital. She's not doing well. Found out a close family friend is in her last days. We work together at the grocery store in my hometown. Neighbors of my parents and myself growing up. So that's hard. I did find out that so here, cue the Jerry Springer. So I am expecting a great niece or nephew. Yes, you heard that right. That I didn't misspeak. My great niece is pregnant. So that is correct. My sister is 19 years older than me. So we share the same dad. We have different moms. I don't use the term half. I think that I don't like the term half, like my half brother, half sister. I they're my sister, they're my brother. So my sister's son Nick, who's only 4 years younger than me, but he had his daughter very young, and she is now young and is pregnant. So I will be a 39-year-old great great uncle, great uncle. So I have, and actually my one of my other nephews um, had a daughter just a few weeks ago. And that was, I believe, my 10th great niece or nephew. 10 great nieces and great nephews at the age of 39. So what's up, Dan? Dan is with us. So Dan, I'm just talking about my week, my wild roller coaster week. So I think that's all the non-hobby stuff. Um Hobby stuff is kind of not put on hold this week, but it's just I've had to acclimate to everything going on around me. So I haven't done a lot of shipping. So today it's like I'm I'm just gonna be down here. I have over 100 shipments to get out. So that's on the docket today. Um so I spent a lot of time with File Exchange. I uploaded 500 listings to my eBay store this week. Um I did about 250 items on, I think it was Thursday, um, because I was with dogs upstairs, and so I had my laptop on the couch and was just typing away. So I was able to get 250 uploaded. My Topps Pro debut case, I was able to finish sorting last week, and I'm like, what am I going to do with the singles? I decided to put together player lots. So there's anywhere between like 7 and 12. And the collation was kind of weird. Once I got everything sorted out, like Adley Rushman, I pulled an Adley Rushman out of every single box. Plus, I pulled the Adley Rushman short print image variation. So there was actually 13 Adley Rushman. So I sold the image variation separately, put together the lot of 12. So every non-Cub single is listed in my eBay store anywhere from like $7.50 to $15. Because they'll have to go bubble mailer. I think there's maybe one or two 6-card lots because I pulled some. Some are less because I put them in I put a stack in my 25-cent box. So I'll probably just keep those in there because they're already sorted and listed on eBay. So I actually did sell quite a few already. Those were uploaded last night. So almost 200 because there were about a dozen Cubs. So like 190, 188 lots from Pro Debut. I know I sold 3 Cardinal lots to the same buyer. I think I sold, Ivan Johnson from the Cincinnati Reds. I sold that lot. Jared Kelly from the White Sox. So I've sold a few lots already. So that's really good. My eBay store numbers are on their way up. When I talked about my strategy for fourth quarter, my numbers were sitting at 33 sales per day. That's bumped up to about 35.5 sales per day. My inventory turnover is actually dropped just a little bit. It was at 1.2%, which is 1.2% of my inventory selling per day. But that number's dropped a little bit because I've had so many new listings, the 500 with File Exchange plus just some, like a lot of the Pro Debut. So that hasn't, really had a chance to sink in yet. So I think those numbers will go back up to around 1.2, 1.3% for my turnover and inventory is going to be kind of the average. It's going to be really difficult. My goal was to hit 6,000 item listings by October 1st. It's going to be pretty difficult to get to that because at 35 sales per day, that's 245 sales per week. So that's the bare minimum that I have to add. I have to continue adding 250 items per week just to keep up with the demand on average. So it's going to be difficult. I've taken about 200 photos of wrestling cards. So my next File Exchange upload will be a couple hundred wrestling singles from recent. There's some 85 and 87 tops, but mostly 2013 to 2018 or whatever. So that's the next upload. So just trying to get to that 6,000 mark. So hopefully we can get there. Just because I want to double up everything. That's the eBay update. Dan, I am alive. What a week it's been, man. It's been a crazy week. So I did, my vintage, my second addition to the 19th century Cubs collection. This is only my second card from the 1800s. It's Marty Sullivan. He played 2 years with the Chicago White Stockings. I love the back side of this. I don't know if you can read how well you can read that. But it says, "We will pack in the celebrated gold coin chewing tobacco, the portraits of all the leading baseball players in the country in full uniform. Continue to save the wrappers. They are valuable." And this is from 1887. Gold coin, Marty Sullivan. And it's an SGC 2. So that was actually, I won that at auction. And I put in my bid, like this is my max bid. I know Dan loves to snipe. I'm like the anti-sniper. I'm just going to put my bid in early and let it ride. And so that's what I did. And I actually won the auction I think there were 5 days left in the auction when I put my bid in, and there was some movement, like it went up, like I had some competition. But I ended up winning out. And I think I won it so I think there was a difference of maybe $20 between my max bid and what I won it for. So I actually won it for $20 less than my max bid. So there's actually a few more. There's some Joe Tinker tobacco cards that I've been watching. I've had some offers come in that I want to grab, but I've bought so much in the last month. It's like I need to be more sales focused here. So September sales. That's kind of my goal in September, because not only do I want to, make sales so I can keep buying some of these tobacco cards, but also keep listing so I can get to that 6,000 listings mark by October 1st. So that's kind of the goal for September. Only one card show planned. I decided not to make the trip to Chicago this weekend for the Spectacular. So I don't plan on going to another show until our next show at the end of September, the 25th, I think. So just kind of keep it low key on the show front. I have plenty. I'm gonna do this wrestling upload to the eBay store, and then I'm gonna as I'm doing that, I'm gonna do football with the football season coming up, with which, by the way, I'm wearing my Anawan Braves hoodie today. We don't have an Anawan Braves football team anymore because they co-op with, it's still weird to me. They've been co-opted with a rival school for 13 years, and it's still hard to adjust because they were our rival when I was in school. But they put together a pretty good co-op. They made the Final Four semifinals 2 years ago. Last year was they played spring ball because of COVID. And they're actually off to a good start this year. They played, and here's another wacky. There's a referee shortage in at least Illinois, and I'm sure nationwide, but Illinois in particular. So they had to play on Thursday because there was not enough officials to work Friday night football games. So they played Thursday night. They won their week 1 opener. I actually watched it on the big screen down here in the basement. The other school has a technology department. They stream the games. So I watched it last Friday. They won 32-12 last week. And then they won this week 40-0. They are ranked, I think they're up to number 4 in the statewide rankings, which I didn't think they would be deserving of even a top 10 ranking, because they graduated like every starter from their team. So in 2019, they made the Final Four, and they brought everybody back. I think they only lost like 1 or 2 seniors. So they brought everybody back. And then in last year, it was it was like all of their starters senior year, because they were all juniors on the Final Four team. And then it got pushed into the spring, and then there was no playoff. It was like a 6-game schedule. It was just wacky. And then so we had, like, in the early 90s, our school, when they were the Anawan Braves, it was, we don't rebuild, we reload. And so that's the slogan this year for the Titans, is what they are now. So 2-0 with a big win on Thursday. So let's see. Zach says, I won a Walter Payton 86 Topps on auction. Just set what I was willing to pay and won paying less. Yeah, I love that. In fact, when I won this card, it popped up. I think it was a Sunday night ending. It was last Sunday. And it's like, congratulations, you won. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I forgot about this one. Dan, congrats. Got the second shot yesterday. How are you feeling? I felt great after the second shot, but after the first shot, I was miserable. I had a fever after the first shot. But the second shot, I felt great. I felt like $1 million after the second shot. Zach found an 85 Eric Davis Topps on Sport Lots for 18 cents. I've wanted that kid since a boy. Eric Davis was a baller. He was. Like, who would have thought, and I think I've said this on the show before, who would have thought, like, back in 1989, like, if you would have told me Eric Davis and Don Mattingly wouldn't be Hall of Famers, I would have been like, you're crazy. Or Bobby Bonilla, like, you're crazy. Like, I mean, those guys, and that's probably just, like, we were kids, and it just seemed like they were Hall of Famers. And well, they were for just a short amount of time. If they would have extended those playing days throughout their entire careers, definitely locks for the Hall of Fame, but they didn't do so. And for Mattingly, it was more injuries. But Eric Davis did have a long career. It was just he, didn't put up the numbers that he did in those glory days with the Cincinnati Reds. Zach says there's been a steady decline of officials since pre-COVID. Main reason, parents, not the kids. Absolutely. I know that they're even back when I was working in radio covering high school sports a decade ago, 10 to 20 years ago, there was always a push. Like we need officials. There's an official shortage. It was just there was a lot more retiring than starting up. And it was like, back then it's like, oh, there's always, like in my industry, transportation, there's a trucker shortage. Well, there's been a trucker shortage forever, but eventually it's going to hit where it's going to really make an impact, where yes, there's an impact now, but down the road it can be a really big impact. And that's what Illinois is seeing with, now they're having to reschedule games to different days just to get officials across the board. What's up, DR? Happy Labor Day weekend to you. Wisconsin is struggling even more. Wow. And I know Wisconsin, I don't know, Zach, I haven't really got into the Wisconsin high school. I don't work in high school sports anymore. I still follow Illinois very closely because I still do some contract work for the organization. A lot of my friends are coaches, so I just follow it more closely. And that was one thing when I moved up here. It's like there's a lot of Thursday games, and I don't know, here in Madison, I know that a couple high schools share the same stadium, so they sometimes they have to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday just to get every team in because they don't have their own football field stadiums. So maybe that could be, but maybe it's because of the official shortage. That's what we're seeing in Illinois. Uncle Rich, good morning. Speaking of shots, I got my booster last week. That is awesome. Which I am able to get without jumping the line. Dan says number one shot was fine. Second shot, I have a light headache, sleepy after 5 hours from both shots. That's kind of my wife was a trooper through both. Like she had nothing after the first shot. Her second shot, she was tired, but she was still able to, do everything. She was just a little more tired. The first shot just knocked me on my butt. Let's see. Uncle Rich says, good morning from DFW. The second one knocked me for a loop, and I had scheduled a day off and was glad I did for the next day. I was still working from home after my second shot, and it was like mid-morning. Like I felt like I didn't feel bad when I first woke up, but it was kind of like after you wake up and start moving around, and that's when it really hits you. That's kind of what happened to me. And, I after about an hour sitting at my desk, it just really hit me. And so I went like 10, I took a short break and laid on the couch. My wife comes down and she's like, "Are you off today?" And I'm like, "No, I feel like crap." And I, I had a fever and it broke around noon, 1:00. And then I was just really sluggish, but then the next day I was fine. The third one had a different impact because I could not sleep on either shoulder. Long story, but that's fine now. Interesting. Imagine feeling someone in 1987 that Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame, but don't worry, I can gamble on baseball in the stadium, so all is good. How true. How true is that? How true is that? Wives are tough. That's also true. We have the man colds that knock us out. So that's about what I had for today. Just kind of a long week. Glad the week is over. I've got to catch up. I didn't even get a chance to watch Herman and Brad on what night was that? Was that Wednesday night? I think they went. I was thinking about going live in prime time this week. But it was not happening. So all is well on that front. So I'm going to watch Brad and Herman this morning, and the Hobby Hotline is coming up at 10. So excited about that. I do have a lot. I still have not counted my card. The last time I've updated my Cubs count was the Sunday of the National. It has been a month since I have counted Cubs cards. I did count my vendor buddy from Sturgis, South Dakota. Gave me 5,118. I have not added those. Not to my count yet. No, I have not. So that would put me over 665,000. And I've got a bunch of boxes that are still sitting. Top loaders have been coming in. So I had a call out on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I think I've got 4 boxes of used top loaders. So thank you so much for those people helping me out with the top loaders. Dan says he did a show last night. Awesome. I will add that to my watch list this morning. So check out Korean Cardboard for his video. Rich is one of the Hobby Hotline hosts this week, and you think it's a slow week, but not so fast. Plenty of news popped up this week. Plus, I have a question for one of our regular viewers. Yeah, I know for the hobby, it was not a slow week at all, but for my hobby, it was a slow week for me personally. Well, it was a slow hobby week for me personally, but it was the exact opposite for me personally. It was a long, challenging week, which is why it was a slow hobby week for myself. DR says, what are you watching for specifically with the Cubs this last month of the season? That's a question. Not not much. Not much. Not much. I'm probably paying more attention to the minor leagues. In fact, the South Bend Cubs come to Beloit this week. I think they're in town Tuesday through Friday. So now that we're back to normal with the one dog household, I'll be able to make it down to catch the South Bend Cubs at least once. So I'm going to go watch the South Bend Cubs. There's some young prospects that I've been hoping to get to see. I like that South Bend and Beloit are now in the same division. But with just kind of with the COVID schedule, they played in like April or May, and I wasn't able to go to the games when they came to Beloit. And then now this is the first time since like early May that the South Bend Cubs have come to Wisconsin, or to Beloit specifically. So Beloit's only about an hour, it's like 55 minutes. It's going to be over an hour because they have a brand new stadium. So, which is a little further away. The old stadium made like high school fields look like major league stadiums. Their old park was pretty awful. But it was great for autographs. It was great for me because it was on the north side of Beloit. So I didn't even have to drive through Beloit. I could just cut across on the northernmost road and get over to the field. So I'm going to check out the new stadium and check out the South Bend Cubs. So I may go to it just kind of depends on how the week rolls out. But again, I think they're Tuesday through Friday next week. So try to head to one, and I may get to two. It just kind of depends. I want to get I haven't autographed in a while, and I do know they are signing autographs. But with the new stadium, I know it's a little more tricky. The access to players is not near what it was. The old stadium in Beloit, the players actually had to walk across the like concourse to get to the field. Like, I mean, there's just autograph hounds right there outside of their I want to say locker room, but not bullpen, not locker room, clubhouse, right out of the clubhouse. They had to walk through to the field. So I know with the new stadium, it's not that accessible. So try to get to watch some baseball. So with the Cubs, I'm just kind of watching the young guys. It's going to be, it's kind of been nice to see guys like Frank Schwindel pop up, and who's the other guy that's Patrick Wisdom. So Wisdom and Wisdom and Schwindel have been kind of fun stories. When there's not a Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo, there's got to be a Schwindel and a Wisdom. So that's kind of where the Cubs are at. It's going to be an interesting offseason to see how it all plays out. So yeah, and I haven't been watching much Cubs. That's for sure. I've kind of tapped out. My fantasy team stinks. I had a fire sale myself before the trade deadline. We're in a keeper league, so now it's kind of we're still in the regular season. This is actually the last week of the regular season. So the way our standings go is the number one pick goes to the team that finishes seventh. So a 12-team league. So the draft order goes in order of finish: 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then the champion gets the 7th overall pick. And then so the person that finishes 6th gets the last pick. So right now I'm in the mix. I think the math works that if I win and some others lose, I'll get the 2nd overall pick. I'm out of the running for the number 1 overall pick. But right now I'm at the 3rd overall pick, and I think I have a shot at the 2nd overall pick, but I'm losing my matchup. So I've actually been playing to win, just to improve draft stock, which is kind of the opposite how it works. Like you suck to get the top pick. So kind of playing that out. And now I'm looking at my roster like, okay, who do I want as keepers? Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, they're locks for my keepers. Jack Flaherty is probably a lock. I did trade for, everybody's like, what are you doing? Because I'm trading off all my players, but then I trade for Giancarlo Stanton just because I kept 3 pitchers last year and it kind of blew up in my face. So I wanted to have more hitters as keepers than pitchers. But I've also got Trevor Rogers from the Marlins, who may be keeper status. I picked up Riley Green, who hasn't even debuted in the big leagues yet, but a lot of guys snag up these top prospects early. One guy in our league had Wander Franco for like 2 years before he debuted this year, maybe 3 years actually. So that's kind of, do I take a flyer on Riley Green when I can probably, do I keep him? And maybe luck into drafting him in a 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, because these young guys go fast. And who knows what his progress is going to be by draft day in March. So that's got to be a decision to make. So we'll see. You don't want to hear about my fantasy baseball talk. Rich says, I'm dealing with processing several donations and have an office floor to clear out. Home office, that is, and my office also needs cards processed. DR, have an awesome time at the game. Minor league baseball is the best. It is fun. Haven't been to a game this year. And of course, I didn't go to a game last year, so I haven't been to a minor league game since 2019. I've only been to one baseball game this year. That was the Cubs Cardinals back in, when was that? June? I don't even remember when I went to the Cubs game. June or July. Dan says, I think show is the word you've used most in 2021. Too bad Schwindel and Schwarber didn't play it. Yeah, that's a tongue twister. Schwindel and Schwarber. So that's what I had for today. Check out Dan's video at Korean Cardboard. I'm also going to watch Herman and Brad, Texas Card Dude. They did a Wednesday night show, and then 10 o'clock, Uncle Rich Klein is going to be on Hobby Hotline. So tune into Hobby Hotline, 10 a.m. Central. So have a great weekend. Have a great Saturday. I will likely go live again tomorrow morning, and then I'll probably go live again Monday morning as well, Labor Day, since it's a day off, so probably a little later than normal. But have a great one. Thanks for tuning in. Awesome chat today, and we'll talk tomorrow.